some of the people who are attending the course, I know, are new to Buddhism. Some of you have some background. So I'm going to try and do it in a way that's kind of suitable for everybody. I know that the text, I hope you've kind of taken a look at it already, but the text has, it begins with a lot of visualization and ritual and stuff like that. And I know for some people that may not be their cup of tea at the beginning, so I'm going to kind of abbreviate that and then really get into the teachings. And then as we get into the teachings, then some of the other visualization and so on may make more sense after that. Okay. We sent you out some papers with the prayers before teachings, right? Okay, so we like to recite those. These are the ones that are commonly recited in the Tibetan community. I'm going to ask Venerable Senpai to come and lead. And maybe you can just... I can just do it for you. Just move closer here. When we do this, the reason that we do those prayers are, you know, first of all, to pay homage to the Buddha as our teacher. And when we have respect and we see the good qualities of someone, then, and we express those good qualities, then it opens our mind to really benefit from their teachings. Yeah, so that's why we say the prayers at the beginning, kind of talking about the Buddha's good qualities and so on, because it helps open our mind and make our own mind more receptive. Okay, and then there's some verses in there. You know, we pay specific homage to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And then there's the verse, the one that starts, a star mirage, a flame, and a lamp. Well, no, the one before that. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only virtuous actions. Subdue your mind completely. This is the teaching of the Buddha. That's kind of the synthesis of everything. You know, if you had to say the essence of the Dharma standing on one leg, that's what you'd say. You know, or if they ask you for an elevator statement, you know, about what the Buddha believes, that's it. And then when we say a star, mirage, a flame, a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. I really love that verse because that is reminding us, it's down towards the bottom of the page, it's reminding of us of impermanence, you know? So
it says up at the top of the page, homage to Shakyamuni Buddha.
Yeah, the page says homage to Shakyamuni Buddha at the top. Okay, so it starts out with homage to the Buddha and then to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Okay, and then the verse that's synthesizing the Dharma teachings. Then the verse, a star, mirage, a flame of a lamp. That one is talking about impermanence, so that we really think of the preciousness of this opportunity. Okay, and then the next verse, through this merit, should say merit or positive potential?
Well, I think it's supposed to be merit. We say merit.
We say merit. Through this merit, may sentient beings attain the state of all seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of cyclic existence perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. So that's actually a dedication verse. But it is a motivation verse as well, too, why we're doing this. Then we have the short mandala and the mandala offering to request teachings. And these are both quite important. Here, what mandala means is the universe. And we are offering the entire universe to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. As we request, please may we receive the teachings. Yeah. So when we think of the entire universe, it's everything that's beautiful, everything that our attachment usually goes towards, that we think, I want, give to me. But here, instead of regarding the universe like that, we take it and all the beauty we offer to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha without any kind of attachment whatsoever. And at the same time, we're requesting the teachings. Yeah. And that's quite important because it signifies that we're like willing to give the entire universe in order to receive the teachings. Yeah. So it helps us not to take the teachings for granted. Yeah, so you should really think when you're doing the mandala offering, think of everything you consider beautiful and desirable, and then offer it, with a sincere mind that is really requesting the teachings. If you do it that way, then the teachings will have a much stronger imprint on your mind. If you do, the mandala offering and the other verses, and you're just kind of, how much longer do we have to chant anyway? Then that's the mind that you're approaching the teachings with, so you're not going to get so much benefit from that. Okay? Then we do the refuge and bodhicitta to set our motivation and to again take refuge in the three jewels. Okay? And then usually after that we have some silent meditation. So we will do that, just a few minutes today of silent meditation, and then we will start the text. Okay? Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then we'll case. Read here. So before we start, we don't direct these prayers just to empty space, but we always imagine in the space in front of us the Buddha surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and ourselves surrounded by all sentient beings. And we think that we're leading all the sentient beings in generating these virtuous thoughts in the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
To the teacher endowed, transcendent destroyer, one of scorn, foe destroyer, completely and fully awakened one, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, one gone to bliss, knower of the world, supreme God and beings to be tamed. Teacher of gods and humans to you, the Buddha endowed, transcendent destroyer, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni, and prostrate, make offerings, invoke a refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I bow. With your body's form supremely fine, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain. Fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, supreme guide, to you I bow. With the supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I bow. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you I bow. Great, compassionate protector, all-knowing teacher, field of merit and good qualities, vast as an ocean, to the Tathagata I bow. Through purity, freeing from attachment, through virtue, freeing from the lower realms. Unique, supreme, ultimate reality, to the Dharma that is peace I bow. Having freed themselves, showing the path to freedom too, well established in the trainings. The holy field, endowed with good qualities, to the Sangha I bow. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind completely, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a bubble. A dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see condition things as much. Despair and may sentient beings, attain false beings, subdue the foe of false. And be delivered from the ocean of cyclic existence, perturbed by the waves of aging, and this robe anointed with perfume, flowers strewn mountain, moorland, sun and moon. Imagine that's a to you, holy things, enjoy this pure land. Venerable holy goods, in the space of your truth body, from billowing clouds of your wisdom and love, let fall the rain of the profound and extensive Dharma, in whatever form is suitable for subduing sentient beings. Idam Gurana Mandala Kamnirayatayami. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient.
Then let's have a few minutes of silent meditation. Welcome home to your breath. Let your breathing pattern just be normal and natural. Focus on your breath. Just observing what it feels like to inhale and exhale. If you get distracted by a sound or a thought or whatever, just notice it, but bring your attention back to the breath. Don't pay attention to whatever is distracting you. Let's do that for a couple of minutes and let our mind settle. And then before we actually begin the teachings, let's generate our motivation and think that we will listen attentively and share the Dharma together this evening so that we can learn the path to full awakening, what to learn, what to practice, what to abandon, how to cultivate virtue, how to abandon non-virtue. And let's learn these so that we can put them into practice and gain the realizations and really transform our body, speech, and mind into the body, speech, and mind of a fully awakened one. And let's remember that our motivation for doing this is to offer service to sentient beings, to repay their kindness, to benefit them. So let's have that motivation of love and compassion, care and concern for all living beings as we share the Dharma together this evening. Okay. Lungs with okay. Okay. So I'm gonna give the oral transmission at the same time with the teachings. The oral transmission means that I'm reading the text and then I'll make some commentary on it. Very often our teachers give us the oral transmission because then it's like you think like you're hearing it from the author of the text, or you think that you're hearing it from the Buddha, because all these teachings came from the Buddha to the author of the text down to us. So we really think like, okay, I'm hearing it as it was originally spoken, and then that really plants some good seeds in our mind. It helps us to understand. Okay, so this text, The Easy Path to Travel to Omniscience, I love that title, The Easy Path. It's so encouraging. It's not actually that easy, but when you compare it with staying in cyclic existence, practicing the Dharma is easier. Yeah? People sometimes complain to me, oh, it's so hard. But, samsara is pretty hard. And samsara, you don't get anywhere at the end of the day. Whereas if we're trying to practice the path, we run across challenges, but it really gets us somewhere, it leads us somewhere good. So it was written by Panchen Lobsang Chökyi Gyaltsen. Okay, so he was the first Panchen Lama. Yeah, the Panchen Lamas were the abbots of Tashi Lumpur Monastery in Shigatse in Tibet. He's also the author of the Guru Puja that we do twice a month. And he's the teacher of the 5th Dalai Lama, the great 5th Dalai Lama. So quite a well-respected practitioner. So he starts the text out saying, at the feet of the Venerable and Holy Masters, indivisible from Shakyamuni Vajradhara, I pay homage continuously. With your great compassion, I pray to you to care for me. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so at the feet of the Venerable and Holy Masters, so he's approaching them with humility. He's not kind of, walking in the room and saying, here I am, but bowing at the feet of the Masters, and seeing the Masters as indivisible from Shakyamuni Vajradhara. Okay, so seeing all this lineage of teachers, for him, he was starting with his own teacher, going back in the lineage all the time to the Buddha, seeing all the teachers and the Buddha as having the same essence, the same nature, and also Vajradhara having the same nature as Vajradhara. Vajradhara is the aspect that Shakyamuni Buddha appeared in when he gave the Tantric teachings. Then he pays homage continuously, so not just, sometimes, and okay, I got that done with, what's next, but, having an attitude of respect continuously in his mind. And then saying, with your great compassion, I pray to you, care for me. Yeah. So what does it mean for your teacher to care for you when you ask your teacher to care for you? Yeah. Are you asking your teacher to be mommy and daddy? To scoop up the baby food and go open wide, zoom. No, that's not what we're doing. How do our teachers care for us? By teaching us the Dharma. Okay? By teaching us the Dharma, by pointing out to us the things that we need to work on in our lives. Yeah? Our teachers don't care for us by flattering us and saying, oh, you're the most wonderful disciple I've ever had. Thank you very much for coming here. You're all looking at me as if I'm talking to you right now. But, our teachers care for us by teaching us and by, pointing out to us what we need to work on. Not by pampering our ego. Yeah, we usually like the people who pamper our ego, don't we? Yeah? We're total suckers. Somebody pampers our ego, we adore that person. Yeah? Even if they have a horrible motivation and they're manipulating us, we don't care. They're praising us, they're pampering our ego, we love them. These are the false friends. Okay? So the exposition of the stages of the path to awakening, the profound method leading fortunate beings to Buddhahood, has two parts. So leading fortunate beings to Buddhahood. Okay, are we a fortunate being? Yeah, do you feel like you're a fortunate being? I bet if I let you talk for a few minutes, you would tell me all your problems and how you aren't fortunate at all. Yeah, we're always full of complaints, aren't we? Oh, somebody else has it better than me. I'm not so good. But we don't feel like we're fortunate beings, but actually we're incredibly fortunate. Yeah, to have not only a human life, but to have a human life with all these circumstances whereby we can meet the Dharma and practice it. It takes an incredible amount of merit from previous times to have this opportunity. So in actual fact, we're quite fortunate. Yeah, more fortunate than, the richest people in the world. We usually think, the rich people in the world, they're so fortunate. I don't know. They have a whole bunch of problems we don't have. Whereas we've met the Dharma, and that is worth more than all the riches in the world. Okay, so this profound method leading the fortunate to Buddhahood has two parts. Okay, the first part is how to rely on spiritual mentors, the root of the path. And the second part is, having relied on them, how to progressively train your mind. Okay, so the first one, how to rely on spiritual mentors, the root of the path, has two parts also. How to conduct the actual meditation and what to do between meditation sessions. And how to conduct the actual meditation has three parts: the preliminaries, the actual meditation, and the conclusion. So I'm reading from the text right now. Okay? So in this first meditation about how to rely on the spiritual mentor, it's actually introducing the whole method of how you meditate and prepare yourself for the long-run meditation. Yeah. So this whole introductory section isn't just about the spiritual mentor. It's about how to set up a meditation session, what to do in your session, or, you know, the meaning of the initial prayers that you recite, the meaning of the initial visualization that you do. All these kinds of things come in here. Okay? So, the first part about the preliminaries, yeah? So the text says, for the preliminaries, in a place you find pleasant. Okay. Sit on a comfortable seat in the 8-pointed posture, or in whatever position is comfortable. Then examine your mind well, and in an especially virtuous state of mind, think, and then it's going to tell us the visualization. Okay, so let's go back to in a place you find pleasant. So that means that you want to do your meditation in a place that is conducive for meditation. Okay, so not in your office next to the computer, not near your iPhone, or even in the same room with your smartphone. Okay. Not in the children's room where the babies are crying. Not in the kitchen where you're going to get up and take a snack. Yeah. But in a pleasant place where you can really focus your mind. Okay? So, find somewhere in your home where it's, you don't have a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of clutter. And where it's a very simple environment. And then you want to set up an altar because it's very helpful. We're going to be visualizing the Buddha, so it's very helpful to have an image of the Buddha to look at. And it's very helpful also before your session to make offerings to the Buddha and to do other things. So when you set up an altar, yeah, we have, do you want to pick up this statue of the Buddha there? Your central, here in our altar here, we, this is Kuan Yin appearing as Samantabhadra. But you always have, actually, in the center of your altar, we're going to build a little ledge above Kuan Yin. This is the Buddha. So this actually is a Buddha that was given to us by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So small, but very precious. Yeah, so you always have the Buddha in the center of your altar. If you want to have pictures of your spiritual mentor, then you would put those above the Buddha. Pictures of statues of the deity go below. And then on the Buddha's right-hand side, or on your left side, you put a Dharma text. I was going to bring in something, and I forgot. And then on the Buddha's left side, or on the right as you look at it, then you have a stupa. So we have a stupa. I don't know if you can see it there. We'll bring it up here. Okay. So you can put a stupa or a bell. So when you have the Buddha represents the body of the Buddha. The text represents the speech of the Buddha, and the stupa represents the mind of the Buddha. So you have all three images there to remind you of the qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. And then in front, you can put water bowls. So there's a video online of me showing how to make the water bowl offering, isn't there? Yeah. So you can find it somewhere online. Yeah. You can also offer flowers or fruit or anything that you consider beautiful. And this is a really nice practice to do when you first get up in the morning. Yeah, to get out of bed, make 3 prostrations, and then make offerings to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. It's really quite nice, and it helps your mind. It's a very peaceful thing to do the first thing in the morning. About making offerings to the Buddha, you offer the best quality. So if you get fruit or something, you don't take out the nice things and save it for yourself and your family and give the Buddha the ones that are bruised. It's the opposite. You keep the bruised ones and you offer to the Buddha the ones that are really very beautiful. Okay? Similar with flowers. You know, we offer fresh flowers. When the flowers start to fade, you take them off the altar. You don't leave dead, wilted, discolored flowers on the altar. When you offer food, yeah, you make the offering one day, and then you can take it down that evening, or you can take it down the next day when you, offer some new food. You do not take the food offering down when it's your lunchtime. Okay? Because I've seen this sometimes happen in Singapore. People come with lots of food for the Buddha. They make offerings to the Buddha, on the altar. And just the time that they want to take the food offering down, it just happens to be dessert time. Yeah? No, that's not right, because then you're not really offering it to the Buddha, are you? Yeah, you're really putting it in front of the Buddha until you want it. You're offering it to yourself. Try not to do that, but to, really with your heart offer it. Now, when you offer water, then when you take it down in the evening, you put it on plants or you put it outdoors. You don't put it down the toilet. You don't put it where somebody's going to walk over it. Okay? Okay. It's also very good, before you sit down, to tidy the room up and to clean it up. We often talk about the 6 preliminary practices before you do your long rim meditation, and cleaning the room is one of them. And it goes together with setting up the shrine, setting up the altar. The second one is obtaining offerings properly and arranging them nicely. Okay. Then you make 3 prostrations and you sit down. Yes. And it said, sit in a comfortable seat in the 8-pointed posture. Okay? So let's go through the 8 points of the posture. First, your legs are crossed. So you put your left leg on your right thigh and your right leg on your left thigh. Yeah, can you see? I'm pretending these are my legs. Yeah. If you can't keep your legs like that, then put your right leg flat. Okay. If you still can't do that, then you can also put your left leg flat so that both your legs are flat like this, or you can sit like this, like you usually, often sit. Are you having tech problems?
A little bit, yeah. Please carry on. We can still hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can see okay?
Yes, just that the projector didn't work well.
But we can hear you. We just can't see you at the moment.
Oh, okay. Because I can see you very well. Okay, so, yeah, if you can't sit cross-legged, then sit in a chair, but a straight back chair. Not a, easy chair, this kind of chair, okay? Yeah, so coming back. Should I go on?
Yes,
Yes, please continue. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so your legs, that's the first part in the 8-point posture. Then your hands, the right on the left, the thumbs touching to form a triangle, and this is in your lap. Okay? And if you put it in your lap properly, then there's some space between your body and your arms, so then the air circulates like that. Yeah? Then third, your back is straight. Yeah, so keep your back straight, sit up straight. Keep your head level. Yeah, don't let it droop because you're going to go to sleep. And don't stretch it out like that because you're going to get distracted. Just keep it level. Keep your mouth closed and your tongue on the, just on the roof of your mouth. I'm not sure where else you put it, at least in my mouth. There's no other space. Your shoulders are level also. Your arms, like I was saying, there's a little bit of space between your arms and your body. And then your eyes, they say to keep them a little bit open and kind of looking at the tip of your nose, but not actually looking because you'll be distracted if you're looking. But just gazing at the tip of your nose, or if that's uncomfortable, then gaze at the space like on the floor that's in front of you. Yeah. If you keep your eyes a little bit open like that, it'll prevent you from getting drowsy. So that's always very helpful. If your eyes closed by yourself, that's okay. And then the 8th point is to have a neutral mind. Yeah. So that your mind is not distracted by a lot of thoughts when you sit down to meditate. If you just got done having an argument with somebody, or if it's right before lunch and you're wondering what's for lunch, your mind's going to be distracted. So to get rid of the distraction in your mind, you want to focus on your breath. Okay? And so here, when you're doing the breathing meditation, you can either focus on your abdomen and be aware of the rise and fall of your abdomen as you inhale and exhale, or you can focus at the upper lip and the nostrils and be aware of the sensation of the air as it goes in and out here. Okay? So you put it on one of those two places, or sometimes you can just put it on your whole body and just feel the air as it goes in and out. Yeah? When you're doing the breathing meditation to calm your mind like this, you don't force your breath in any way. Just whatever your breathing pattern is, you let it be. Yeah? Some days you'll see as you meditate more, you'll see that when you have certain mental states, you'll also have certain breathing patterns. Yeah? If you sit down and you're kind of nervous and anxious, your breathing pattern's going to be coarser and more rapid. Yeah, and you'll be breathing from here. If you sit down and your mind's really relaxed, your breathing is going to be slower and it's going to be from down here. Okay? If you're really upset when you sit down, your breath is not going to be even. It's going to be jerky. Yeah. Yeah, because you're emotionally upset. So it's very interesting to really learn. You can learn a lot about yourself by observing the relationship between your breath and your mental states. Yeah, it can be very, very helpful to you to give you some insight into what's going on in your mind by watching your breath. So, if your mind is disturbed by something when you sit down to meditate, then you want to do some breathing. Yeah. And you just do it for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it takes, to calm your mind down. His Holiness sometimes says, oh, our picture disappeared.
Your monitor is not functioning,
Oh, I
so
see.
they're trying to get it. It's
Okay.
just Spokane right now.
Okay, Spokane folks, we see you now. Be on your good behavior. where was I? His Holiness, yes. His Holiness often says when you're doing the breathing meditation to count up to 10 and then to count backwards down to 1 again as a way to help you stay on your breath. So you can do that, and if that helps calm your mind down, then that's quite good, and then you can start the actual meditation. Okay? And it says, examine your mind well. Yeah? So you don't just plop yourself down on the meditation seat. You sit down and it's like, okay, what's going on in my mind? Yeah? Do I have a peaceful mind? Do I have an open mind right now? Yeah. Do I have a virtuous state of mind, or am I really angry at somebody? Because if you're really angry at somebody, it's going to be very difficult to meditate. Okay? So you have to kind of deal with any kind of emotional state before you actually start practicing. Yeah. And as we get into the long run, the antidotes to the different emotional states will become clear and you'll be able to use them. Okay, but here now it's going to talk to us about a visualization. So I'm going to go over the visualization rather quickly and give you a simplified version of it to work on. Okay? So in the space in front of me, so if you're visualizing the space in front of me, on a precious throne, both high and wide, supported by 8 great lions. Yeah, so you have a throne with the 8 lions. You often see this in the statues. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you have this lion throne, and then there's a multicolored lotus on top of the throne. Then there's a flat moon cushion and a flat sun cushion. Okay? So the lotus, moon, and sun together represent the 3 principal aspects of the path: renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct view. Okay? And then the Buddha sits on top of that, showing that he's mastered those 3 principal aspects of the path. Okay? So on top of those seats is my kind, main spiritual mentor, in the form of the conquered Shakyamuni. So here you're thinking of your principal teacher in the form of the Buddha. Okay? Now, people at the beginning who are listening to teachings don't have a teacher yet. So, don't worry about it. It's okay. Just imagine the Buddha. The Buddha's our teacher. Yeah. Don't worry about finding a teacher yet and which one's your principal teacher and all of that. That will come very, very naturally as you practice. So, for now, just visualize the Buddha. But if you're somebody who's been practicing for a while, then you can think of the Buddha, you can think of your own teacher in the physical form of the Buddha. Okay? So the color of his body is pure gold. On his head is the crown protuberance. You often see the Buddha, with the crown protuberance here. That is indicative of the extraordinary amount of merit that he had to accumulate in order to become fully awakened. Okay. He has 1 face and 2 hands. His right hand touches the earth, and the left, in meditation position, holds an alms bowl full of nectar. So his right in touching the earth, the story behind that is when the Buddha first attained awakening, people, some spirits or devas were saying, well, how do we know that you're fully awakened? Who's going to attest to this? So as the story goes, the earth goddess appeared out of the earth, and said, I will attest to it. He's fully awakened. And he put his hand on the earth at that point. So it's reminding us of that. Okay. His left hand in meditation posture, and he's holding an alms bowl full of nectar. Okay, so the monastics always have alms bowl. It is not a begging bowl. Sometimes people mistranslate it and call it a begging bowl. It's not a begging bowl because monastics do not beg. Yeah, there's a difference between begging and going for alms. When you're begging, you're going up to somebody and saying, please give me, please give me. Okay? When you're on alms, you are holding your bowl and you are walking or standing, and then it's completely up to other people whether they want to offer or not. You do not ask. Okay, so the Buddha's holding his monastic alms bowl, and it's filled with nectar. This nectar is the wisdom nectar that cures all of the afflictions and all the suffering arising from the afflictions. Okay, elegantly he wears the three saffron colored monastic robes. Okay, so monastics have, fully ordained monastics have 3 robes. The Shemdap is the lower one with the patches. Okay, the Chugu is the one that I'm wearing here. This in Chinese tradition, the Shemdap is called the 5-stripe robe. This one is called the 7-stripe robe. And then the fully ordained monastics have the Namjar in Tibetan. It's called the 9-striped robe in Chinese. The Tibetans sometimes have 17, 19, 21, 23 panels. It's quite complicated to sew that one. Okay, his body is made of pure light. Yeah, so it's important when you're visualizing the Buddha that you're not thinking of a statue. You're really thinking, imagining the real Buddha sitting there, but his body is made of light. Yeah, so it's light and it's radiant. You're not thinking of a bronze statue. You're not thinking of, you know, a human body with like flesh and blood body. Okay, but a body made of light. And it's adorned with the signs and marks of a Buddha and emanates a flood of light. So the signs and marks of the Buddha, these are certain physical attributes that a fully awakened being has that you can identify them by, such as the crown protuberance, the long earlobes, the hair curl at the center, the number of teeth, the length of the arms, the webs between the fingers. There's all sorts of physical signs like this. Okay? And his body emanates a flood of light. So when you're visualizing the Buddha in front of you, his body is made of light, and there's just this incredible light just radiating from it, you know, indicating the, you know, the light of his wisdom everywhere. Okay, and you think that, you know, you're sitting there and you think you're surrounded by all the sentient beings, and then the Buddha's in front of you just radiating light everywhere. It's hard to be depressed when you visualize that. Yeah, you really have to work hard to be depressed. Yeah, because the Buddha's really quite beautiful. Yeah. He's sitting in the Vajra posture, so that was the posture I was describing before with your legs are crossed. And he's surrounded by my direct and indirect spiritual mentors. Okay, so your direct spiritual mentors are the teachers that you study with, that you know personally. The indirect ones are the lineage, like, you know, your teacher's teacher, your teacher's teacher's teacher, all the ones that go back to the Buddha. Those are the indirect ones. So the Buddha is surrounded by all your direct and indirect spiritual mentors, by all the deities, Chenrezig, Manjushri, Vajrapani, Tara, and so on, by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the heroes and heroines, the Dakas and Dakinis, and also by an assembly of Arya Dharma protectors. Here it's quite noted that these Dharma protectors that we visualize are Arya protectors. They're not the ordinary beings, because there's some Dharma protectors that are Aryas, that have realized the ultimate nature of reality, and some Dharma protectors that are common beings like us. We do not put the common Dharma protectors, you know, in visualization here. We're just putting the ones who are realized beings. Okay. In front of the Buddha, on an exquisite stand, are his teachings in the form of books made of light. Okay. And the members of the merit field, so all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and deities and so on, you know, they look upon you with contentment. Yeah, with contentment, with acceptance. And this is very, very important because so often we judge ourselves very hard. We're very hard on ourselves and picking at our own faults. And so we can't imagine anybody at all looking at us with acceptance. Yeah? We think, you know, especially we think of the Buddha, you know, because we have so much respect for the Buddha, and the Buddha's an enlightening, and we think the Buddha's going to be sitting there looking at us. You overslept this morning, didn't you? You know, or you told a lie yesterday, or you haven't been doing your practice. And so sometimes we project onto the Buddha how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves. That's wrong. Okay. We have to remember the Buddha is somebody who's completely compassionate and who doesn't judge others. So when the Buddha looks at us, it's with complete acceptance, complete contentment. Yeah? So you have to, depending on your personality, you may have to really work on it to imagine somebody looking at you with acceptance and compassion. Yeah? But it's very, very important to do that. Yeah? The Buddha's not glaring at you. He's not falling asleep. He's not laughing at you. You know, Buddha is looking at you and being very pleased because, you know, you're going to do something virtuous. Okay. In turn, at the thought of the compassion of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, at the thought of their compassion and their virtue, I have great faith in them. Okay? So when we're imagining the Buddha, we generate faith. Okay? Now, what does faith mean in Buddhism? This is quite important. There's three kinds of faith. One kind of faith is called admiring faith. And that's the kind of faith where we admire the qualities of an enlightened one. Like we admire the Buddha's wisdom. We admire the fact that they have impartial love and compassion for all living beings. We admire the fact that the Buddha can give his body as easily as we give a carrot. You know, that there's absolutely no attachment. Okay? So that admiring faith really is uplifting to our mind when we think of the Buddha's qualities. It can make our mind quite happy. Yeah? The second kind of faith is called aspiring faith. And this is where we aspire to become like the Buddha. Okay? So thinking of the Buddha's qualities, we aspire, oh, gee, I would like to become like that. You know, the Buddha's a fantastic role model. I want to generate those qualities in myself. And then the third kind of faith is the faith of conviction. So the faith of conviction, or convictional faith, convinced faith, this is when we have really thought about the teachings, we've learned the teachings, we've thought about them, they make sense to us, and because they make sense to us, then we have faith in them. Okay? So it's a kind of faith that's based on knowledge and based on analysis. Yeah. So you'll notice that all three kinds of faith, none of them are blind faith. None of them are, well, my parents worship the Buddha, so I'm going to too. Yeah. None of them are like that. Okay? So we either have to, you know, admiring faith, knowing their qualities, aspiring faith, wanting to be like them, or convinced faith, where we've thought about the Four Noble Truths, we've thought about the teachings the Buddha's given, it makes sense to us, and because it makes sense, then our faith in the Buddha, or our trust, our confidence in the Buddha really increases. Okay? So when we look at the Buddha here, you know, we're looking with that kind of uplifted mind. Okay? Then, okay, then you think. So this is the beginning of your meditation session. So you visualize the Buddha, and then you think, I and all sentient beings, my mothers, from beginningless time until now, have continuously undergone the dukkha. Dukkha means unsatisfactory conditions. The dukkha of cyclic existence in general, and the suffering of the three lower realms in particular. Nevertheless, it is still difficult to fathom the depth and breadth of this misery. Now that I have attained a precious human life, so difficult to attain and so meaningful once acquired, if I do not realize supreme liberation in which all the dukkha of samsara is overcome, in other words, Guru Buddhahood, then once again I will have to experience the various torments of cyclic existence in general, and those of the three lower realms in particular. As I now have before me the spiritual mentor and the three jewels who can protect me from this pain, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will do all I can to realize precious, perfect, and consummate Buddhahood. To this end, from the depths of my heart, I take refuge in the spiritual mentors and in the three jewels. Okay. Yeah. So as you're, I'll explain this, but as you're reciting this, you know, you really transform your mind into the feeling that's being described here. Okay. So you start out thinking, I and all mother sentient beings, my mothers from beginningless time until now. So here the idea is that all sentient beings have been our parents in previous lives. Now, we've had infinite beginningless lifetimes. There's been plenty of time for each and every living being to have been our parent. And as our parents, they've been kind to us. They kept us alive. They took care of us. Even if they couldn't take care of us, they put us in the care of somebody who could take care of us. Yeah, they made sure that we were taken care of in one way or another. And the proof of that is that we're still alive. Okay, so we have this very close relationship to sentient beings, you know, like parent and child, from beginningless time. So all of them. Yeah. So each sentient being. So Lee Kuan Yew has been your mother in a previous life. Yeah. And George Bush has been your mother in a previous life. And Osama bin Laden has been your mother in a previous life. And your boss, who I know you can't stand, has been your mother in a previous life. But you know, so we've had this very close relationship with everybody since beginningless time. Okay? And so all of us have continuously undergone the dukkha, the unsatisfactory condition of cyclic existence in general, and the suffering of the three lower realms in particular. So later on in the text, we'll get into the unsatisfactory conditions of cyclic existence in general. The fact that you get born and get old and get sick and die, for example. Yeah, that you get born again and again and again without choice. And then especially the suffering of the three lower realms. So the three lower realms, you know, being born in a hellish realm as a hungry ghost or as an animal. Yeah, lots of people, sometimes they say, well, how come an animal is a lower realm? Yeah. I love animals. You're insulting the animals I love, saying they're in a lower realm. Some people get quite upset about it. But if you think about it, while animals are some animals anyway, are quite adorable. I don't know about mosquitoes. We don't usually consider mosquitoes so adorable. But, you know, it's very, animals have limited intelligence. So it's very difficult for them to practice the Dharma. Yeah. So if the teachings were in the other building, we would show you our two kitties right now. Yeah. They're missing the teachings tonight. Yeah, we usually come to the teachings. You know, shall we try and teach our kitties how to keep good ethical conduct? You know? Don't kill the bugs, don't chase the birds, don't chase the mice. You know, all these living beings want to live as much as you want to live. And we tell our kitties this, and they look at us. Like, you know? So as much as we explain to them about good ethical conduct, they can't absorb it. So it's for that reason that, you know, it's considered a lower rebirth, an unfortunate rebirth. Okay? So we're free from those kind of rebirths. I mean, we're born human beings with human intelligence, and we've met the Dharma, which is really quite astounding when you think of it. Yeah, I mean, how many people in this world have encountered the Buddha Dharma and have interest in it? Not very many. Yeah. Even in Singapore, you may say, well, there's a lot of people in Singapore that are Buddhist. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who aren't. And even the ones who are Buddhists, they're kind of jaw-stick Buddhists, aren't they? Go to the temple and light incense, but they don't really know what it means. You know, if you come to America, boy, Buddhists are really few and far between. Same in Mexico, and many countries of the world. Okay, so all of us have endured all these disadvantages of cyclic existence since beginning this time. Nevertheless, it's still difficult to fathom the depth and breadth of this mystery. Now that I've attained a precious human life, our present human life that is difficult to attain because it's hard to create the karma for it, and so meaningful once acquired, and our lives are meaningful because we have the opportunity to practice the Dharma and to transform our minds. Okay? So now that we have this situation, if I do not realize supreme liberation in which all the dukkha of samsara is overcome, in other words, becoming a Guru Buddha myself, then once again I will have to experience the various torments of cyclic existence in general, and those of the three lower realms in particular. So if I don't practice and I don't get some spiritual realizations in this lifetime, then what's going to happen? I'm going to get born again. And who knows where I'm going to be reborn. And if I'm going to have the opportunity to practice the Dharma in my next rebirth. Even, who knows even if I'll be happy in my next rebirth. We don't know. You know? So we'll keep on taking one birth after the next, you know, unless we really practice and make some headway in this lifetime. So that's why Dharma is important, you know, really important, because once you lose a precious human life, like let's say we don't practice very well, you know, and we create a lot of non-virtue in this life, so that next lifetime, you know, maybe you're born as a cat, the abbey, you know, or worse, you're born as a tick in the forest of the abbey, or a mosquito in the forest of the abbey, or one of the birds that's nesting, you know. then there you are at the Abbey, so close. But can you even take advantage of the teachings? No. Yeah? And if you're a tick or a mosquito, you aren't particularly welcome. We won't kill you, but we don't offer you lunch either. Okay? So, you know, we have to think, do I want that kind of rebirth? Okay. As I now have before me the spiritual mentor and the 3 jewels who can protect me from this pain. Okay, so we're visualizing before us our spiritual mentor, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, who have the ability to guide us. You know, by guiding us and teaching us, that's how they protect us from this pain. So therefore, for the sake of all Mother Sentient Beings, I will do all I can to realize precious, perfect, consummate Buddhahood. In other words, you know, I'm really going to put my energy in a good direction in this life and try and practice and make some spiritual headway. I'm not going to practice the Dharma as a hobby. Oh, well, you know, nothing better to do right now. Might as well sit down and read a Dharma book. But then, but I remembered there's this really good program on TV. I'll read the Dharma book later. I'll watch the TV program now. Yeah. Okay, so instead of having that kind of attitude, we'll really make the Dharma kind of the centerpiece in our life, you know, so that we can try and realize Buddhahood. In other words, we're not working just for a good rebirth or just for liberation, but we really want to become a fully awakened Buddha. Okay? So to this end, from the depths of my heart, I take refuge in the spiritual mentors and the 3 jewels. Okay? So, if you have your sheet right now that says, it says, does anybody have a blue chair? Oh, blue book? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you should have a printout that is called Abbreviated Recitations. Do you have that one? Yeah, you got it? Yeah. Jalapenos, the abbreviated recitations are the prayers that we usually do before our meditation sessions and so on. So I think you know all of them. They're already translated into Espanol.
Yes, we have them.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Glad to see you're still all awake. Yeah. This is a neat thing. We can flip the channels. I can check all of you. Who's the teachings?
You can check on all the jalapenos. They are here, a bunch of them.
Yeah, okay. All the jalapenos are awake. It looks like the Singaporeans are awake. What about those in the corner? Okay. Yes. Oh, somebody just got up.
Paul, my son.
Okay. Those Spokaniters? Yeah. Hi, you all look good. You're all awake. That's very good. Encouraging. Okay, so you have either the blue prayer book on page 28. It says Abbreviated Recitations. So you have the printout. So it's at this point now, that we've done that visualization of the Buddha surrounded by all the other holy beings. We've meditated on this verse that I just went through. Now we do the abbreviated recitations. Okay? So the text is going to go on with a much more complicated, visualization that we're not going to get into. Yeah, I'll just read through it. But, you know, what you'll be doing is the abbreviated recitations. Okay? So it starts out taking refuge in the Guru, in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Yeah? Then our usual refuge in bodhicitta prayer. I think most of you know that. And then the four immeasurables. So love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Okay. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. That's love. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. That's compassion. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. That's joy. And may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. That's equanimity. Okay, so we recite all of these. Then we do the 7-limb prayer. Yeah, which I will go over. We have time. Okay, let's do 7-limb prayer very quickly. Okay, reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. So we imagine bowing, or we stand up and bow to the Buddha. Okay. And present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. So we imagine the whole sky filled with beautiful offerings. Those are the mentally transformed ones. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginning this time. So this is confession, or we could also call it repentance. You know, regretting our mistakes and wanting to purify them. And rejoice in all the virtues, rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. So that's rejoicing in the virtues of ourselves and others. Then we make 2 requests to the Guru Buddha. First, please remain until cyclic existence ends. So there we're asking the Buddha to stay in samsara. You know, we're asking our gurus, our spiritual mentors, to live long, because we really need them, and to turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. In other words, to please teach us the Dharma. So it's very important, you know, to request teachings, you know, and to request our teachers to live long, instead of, again, just taking the Dharma for granted, taking our teachers for granted. Oh yeah, you know, there's my teacher. Doesn't look like they're going to die this week, so I'm a little bit tired. I won't go to Dharma class this week. Yeah. Or, you know, my friend asked me out for lunch. If I go to Dharma class, I can't go out to lunch. This friend really wants me to go out to lunch. Besides, we're going to go to this really good restaurant, so I want to go. So I won't go to Dharma class this week because I can go next week. The teachings are always there. Yeah? So this attitude of, you know, Dharma's nice, yeah, my spiritual mentor is important, but, you know, the pleasures of this life sometimes take precedent. Yeah. If we have that kind of idea, we're creating the cause to be born in a place where we're separated from spiritual mentors. And if you really think of it, you know, spend some time thinking, what would it be like to be born in a place where you have no access to any spiritual mentors? How are you going to learn the Dharma? Yeah, maybe even there's no Dharma books. When I first encountered the teachings in 1975, there were hardly any Dharma books in English. And the ones that were, some of them were pretty weird. You know, they didn't really explain the correct teachings. Some of them were really weird. And there were hardly any centers. Yeah, so how do you learn the Dharma? Okay, so it's important to really request teachings, request the Buddha to manifest and to live long, so that we don't take these things for granted, and so that we really take advantage of them while we have that opportunity. You know, it's like if Bill Gates gave you his credit card and said, go shopping, and you can get anything you want. Are you gonna, go to bed? Are you gonna sit and surf the internet? Are you gonna go, take a walk? No, you are gonna go shopping, aren't you? You have Bill Gates' credit card. You can get anything and everything you want. You are not going to waste 1 minute. Yeah, you are going to be in that shopping center from morning until night. Yeah, and even after you go home, you're going to be dreaming about what you're going to go back and get the next day, because you're not going to waste any time. Okay. That's the kind of attitude we should have with the interest in learning the Dharma and practicing the Dharma. That's what it should be like. Yeah. The Dharma is so important, more important than Bill Gates' credit card. Yeah? Because, even you have the credit card, you go buy everything you want. When you die, you're going to have to separate from it. Yeah, you can't take any of it with you. I don't care how much paper money, the bank of hell they burn when you die, you're not going to be able to take any of it with you. Yeah. So the real thing you have to do is, if you practice, your merit, your virtue, your Dharma practice, you can take with you. Okay? And then the last of the 7 limbs, I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. So dedication of merit. Okay. Then we do the mandala offering. Yeah, like we did beforehand. I can talk more about that next time. And then we do 2 verses requesting inspiration. And then we chant the Buddha's mantra. Okay. And while we chant the Buddha's mantra, we imagine light coming from the Buddha into us, purifying us, filling us with all the realizations of the path. And we imagine this light going into all the other situations around us too. Okay? So, what I want you to do this week, your homework, is to do the visualization that we just went through, and then that paragraph talking about the motivation, and then the abbreviated recitations. Okay? So please do those every day without fail. Okay? Because I'm really with this class, I have some expectations of the people who are doing this class. Okay, I really am expecting you to first of all, to attend every class, unless you're really on your deathbed, or well, close to your deathbed. Yeah, but every class, I'm really expecting people to do that, and then whatever we cover in class, to go home and meditate on it and do it, okay? Because that's the only way this is going to benefit you. If you come to class but you don't practice it in the time between one class and the next, then, it's not going to benefit you. Then what am I doing? Sitting here. Yeah? When I could be taking a nap. Yeah? So please, really have some commitment to the class and to, meditating on whatever we've covered in class. Okay? So is that clear? Next week? Okay. Okay, now I didn't leave very much time for questions. Did you have any questions?
Well, can I ask one question? If we have difficulty in imagine the visualization of like some of the things mentioned here, like the body is gold, and sometimes and then turning it into a light. Like sometimes you see the body, then you turn to a light. You could not just turn into a light. What should we do?
Okay. Well, the body starts out being light. So it's not that it's bronze and then becomes light. When from the beginning, when you visualize it, it's already light. Yeah. So just, like look at a light bulb beforehand and how light looks, and then the light appearing in the form of the Buddha's body. Yeah. People think visualization's very hard. It's not. Yeah. If I say, think of, what should I have you think of? Yeah.
Your mom.
Okay, yeah, think of your mom. Okay. Do you have an image in your mind of what your mother looks like? Even though you're sitting here in this room, looking at the screen or me or whatever, you still have an image in your mind of what your mom looks like, don't you? That's visualization. Okay? So don't expect when you visualize that you're going to have, 3D, flashing lights, just like it is when your eyes are open. Yeah. But it's just like when you think of anything, I say, think of ice cream. Think of noodles. Yeah, think of pizza. Think of the Buddha sitting on a pizza. Yeah. You'll get the pizza visual part really well. The Buddha, well, you won't get so well. Why? Because you're very familiar with pizza. But if you really practice, you'll start becoming as familiar with visualizing the Buddha as you are with visualizing pizza. Okay? It's true, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So don't, yeah. Uh-huh.
A question in the back. Go ahead.
Yeah. When visualizing the Arya Dharma protectors and the ordinary Dharma protectors, what is an example, or can you give me an example of the Arya Dharma protector and ordinary Dharma protector?
Okay, the Arya Dharma protectors would be, for example, like Pelden Lamo, Mahala.
Thank you.
Those would be the Arya Dharma protectors. Okay. Any other questions?
There is one question here, Venerable.
Huh?
There is one question here.
Okay.
Just 1 second, let me listen to it in Spanish.
Okay.
So, if don't have a special place to do my meditation, what should I do?
If you don't have a special place, then just find a quiet place where you can be alone. Yeah? If you don't have some special place, just find a quiet place where you can be alone, and do your practice there. Okay? Or go to the Dharma Center. Yeah? You have a beautiful center in Jalapa. You can go there and practice. Okay? So now to conclude, let's go back to the prayer sheets that we had, that we started with at the beginning. And we're going to do the mandala offering and then the dedication.
May the spiritual teachers who lead on the sacred path and all spiritual friends who practice it have long life. May I pacify completely all life. And such inspiration I pray. May the lives of the venerable spirituals be stable, and their virtuous actions spread in the 10 directions. May the light of Muslim's teachings dispelling the darkness of the beings in the 3 worlds always increase. Idam Purana Mandala Niryatayam. To this merit may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forever. In the snowy mountain pure land, you're the source of good and happiness. Powerful Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig, may you stay until samsara ends.
Let's make special prayers for Aida's father, Fausto Jimenez, who died today. And may he have a precious human rebirth with all the good opportunities to meet the Dharma and to practice it. And may he take advantage of this precious human rebirth. And also, Pato and Aida, by virtue of their practice in this life, when they meet the continuity of Aida's father in future lives, may they be able to inspire him in the Dharma and teach him the Dharma and lead him so that he will practice in whatever life form, hopefully as a human being, he is born in. Okay, so next week, I know that Richard and Jolene will be here at the Abbey. Yeah. So, but the rest of you are still going to meet, right? Yeah, you'll still be there? You better be. Okay. And so we'll continue next week. Next week, what is good, the time that we all started today, which was different in all 3 cases, at that time, so I guess it would be 9 o'clock in the morning Singapore time and 8 o'clock in the evening in Mexico, and Spokane at 6. Yeah, then meet together at that time and do this meditation that we just went through. Okay, visualizing the Buddha, meditating on the that prayer, and doing the recitation, everything, and then so that might take you maybe 20 minutes, and then so then we'll so start at that time. And start with the practice, and the people here will also be practicing at that time, and then the teachings will start at 20 after. Yeah, but everybody will be online practicing together. Okay. Okay.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Adiós. Auda.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.